Thank you. And now this is my pleasure and my honor to, I don't have my sunglasses, but I'll manage, to introduce Mr. Ambassador Ido Aharoni, whom actually he doesn't need an introduction, but yet I will do it very briefly. Ambassador Ido Aharoni is a Consul General of Israel in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. He is a quintessential communicator Israel has ever, is the best Israel have ever had. Israel was responsible for a major branding project for Israel, connecting the country and the people with creative endeavors. Excuse me, because I don't have my glasses. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Now I'll do it better. Thank you. So Ido was responsible for a major branding project for Israel, connecting the country and its people with creative endeavors, global humanitarian roles, achievements in science and technology, and other spheres that go beyond current events and political issues. Ido is a true aficionado of Beit Hatfutsot. Please welcome Ido Aharoni.
Thank you, Eitan, Major General Ben Eliyahu, for going this extra mile for me. You know, it's very challenging to read without your glasses, so I appreciate it. And I thank you. This was a brilliant introduction. Thank you so much. It's a real pleasure to be here. You know, it's my fourth or fifth Beit Hatfutsot dinner here. Last year, I know I came with my laryngitis. You couldn't hear a word. So tonight, I have my voice, and I'm very happy about that. I hold Beit Hatfutsot in a very special place in my heart because, as you just heard from Eitan Ben Eliyahu, my life mission, my life work has been engaging in a story about our people, because at the end of the day, when you ask yourself, what is the story that we've been telling the world? And when you look at what's happening on campus with this whole phenomenon known as the boycott movement, and you ask yourself, what is the problem? To me, the problem is very clear. To me, the problem is that we allowed a very aggressive reduction and deduction of our phenomenally positive story to a story that centers around Israel's problems. And you show me one place in the world, one company in the world, one institution in the world, one product that was able to do well, succeed, and thrive and progress by constantly talking about its problems. It doesn't exist. You know, I'm reminded of this great story about these two homeless people were sitting outside of a big church in New York on Christmas Day. And as people were walking out of the church after the service, they were noticing that one homeless person was holding, understandably, a big cross in his hand, and the other was holding a big Star of David. And people, as they were leaving out of the church, they were looking at them, looking at the person with the Star of David, you know, astonished, taking out some money, give to the guy with the cross, and walk away. And one lady, she had to say something. She came to the person with the Star of David, and she said, you know, you may not realize this, but this is a Christian establishment here. I think it's more appropriate for you, with the Star of David, to sit outside of a big synagogue, not outside of our church. And she too took out some money, gave to the guy with the cross, and walked away. As she was walking away, the guy with the Star of David turned to the other guy and said, well, what do you say, Moshe? She's trying to teach us marketing. You know, in the craft of marketing places, you need to know what is it that you bring to the table. And the story of our people, you just heard those amazing 3 stories that the Major General shared with us. Amazing stories, moving stories. The story of our people is so inspiring. It's so incredible. Israel is the only country in the world that actually went to Africa to bring people. The only country in the world. No other country ever did that. Our story is so incredible, and we are selling ourselves short by engaging in this endless debate about who's right and who's wrong, centering the conversation around our geopolitical hardships without realizing that the more we do that, the more alienated the people around us are. And you know who taught me the most important lesson in this area? Happens to be a Jewish comedian who made a comeback the other night on the Jimmy Kimmel show. Those of you who had a chance to see that. And that is, of course, Sacha Baron Cohen, our dear friend Borat. Those of you who remember Borat from about 10 years ago, I want you to think about what Sacha Baron Cohen did and realize why what Beit Hatfutsot is doing is so important. What Sacha Baron Cohen did is remarkable. Here's this guy in England. He woke up one morning, he said, I'm going to select a country, a real country, with real natural resources, with real history, with real heritage, with real legacy, with real political system. 124 times the size of the state of Israel, by the way. And he said, I'm going to take this country, Kazakhstan, and I'm going to redefine their identity to the world in such a way that even they themselves will not recognize their country. And he created this fictitious character called Borat, a journalist who comes to America from Kazakhstan. I want you to understand how far-fetched the whole thing is. First of all, Borat is not a Kazakh name, it's a Turkish name. Secondly, the language he's using in the movie is not Kazakhi. Those of you who listen carefully, is half Hebrew, half gibberish. And lastly, the most amazing piece of information is that, to the best of my knowledge, the time the movie was released, Sacha Baron Cohen never set foot in his life in Kazakhstan. The entire movie was shot in Romania. And yet, Sacha Baron Cohen, until this very day, is the world's most famous Kazakhi. Think about it. Do you know any other Kazakhi? I'll tell you more than that. In 2005, the president of Kazakhstan came to meet with President Bush in the White House. Sacha Baron Cohen announced that he demands to be in the meeting. Of course, he was never answered. So you know what he did? He held his own press conference at the JW Marriott in DC, exactly the same time President Bush met with the Kazakhi president. Guess which one attracted more members of the media? Now, laughter aside, there's a very important lesson that we need to learn from what Sacha Baron Cohen did. When you are in the process of defining your identity to the world, which is the story we're all telling the world, you better understand that there is no vacuum in marketing. If you will not take the proactive approach and define who you are to the world, rest assured your competition will do it for you. In our case, we're talking about our Arab detractors and adversaries. So Sacha Baron Cohen is teaching us a very serious lesson, that the story that you tell the world about yourself is part and parcel with your national security. That national security does not begin and end with military might. National security is about the ability to unite your people around one central narrative. And our narrative is all about optimism, is all about renewal, is all about growth, it's all about unity. What brings together people from Yugoslavia, the former Yugoslavia, and Iran, or in the case of my family, from Yemen and from Bukhara, if not a shared destiny? What keeps us together as a people, if not our story? So what you're doing here tonight in my view, and I'm sure that the Major General will join me in saying that, is strengthening Israel's national security, is helping us to build a united front that will allow us long-term not only meet all the challenges, but also engage in a fruitful and meaningful relationship with the communities all over the world, in the first place, this great community here in New York. You know, this is my last year of service. I'll be done here in the summer. It's been a great privilege to serving you, this community. Thank you so much. God bless you, and thank you for supporting Beit Hatfutsot.
So this is one of the great perks of being the chairman of the Conference of Presidents is working with him and his spectacular staff. I tell you that not only has he been here at the last 4 galas, he opens his home, and he probably is one of the great spokespeople that the country we all love, the State of Israel, has ever had. And we here in this area have been privileged to have him as our Consul General, and we love him. So, and I didn't need a script. I didn't need a script for that, but I have a script now. So on behalf of Beit Hatfutsot, I am presenting you, and it's here to my left, a lithograph of the Declaration of Independence of the State of Israel by the artist Arthur Szyk, a Jew from Poland who escaped from the Shoah and after a long journey settled in your territory, New Canaan, Connecticut. Very important. It outlines the vision and aspiration of Israel's founders for the Jewish homeland and the Jewish people. The plaque reads, "To Ambassador Ido Aharoni, for your outstanding commitment to the State of Israel and the Jewish people, for your creative, wise, and compassionate leadership. It says, may you go from strength to strength for the sake of all of our people." And I think because this probably may be the last time he's here in this capacity, we should give him a standing ovation. Would you do that, please?
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Am I expected to say something again? Well, I just spoke. You know what Abba Ibn used to say every time he was honored, so he used to say, well, you know, humbly, I didn't really do all the things that you said about me, but I did way more than you think. But this is not the case. Thank you so much. I'm honored and humbled by this. And I know from a previous conversation I had with Beit Hatfutsot that you're giving me something that is being undertaken, a project with the Megillat Ha'atzmaut by the Helmsley Foundation. And I'm sitting here next to Ruthie and Sandy, my dear friends. I want to thank you for everything you've done. You are making a difference in Israel. You're making a difference in the area where we need you the most, with health care. Thank you so much. And thank you all. It's been a real privilege, real privilege. Thank you. God bless you.